A bird doesn't trust in the branch, it trusts is in its wings. Welcome to the Guyana Dialogue. I'm your host, Shamiza Ali. Our topic tonight is the developments and challenges in tourism industry, and commerce sector. The Guyana Dialogue is being sponsored by a coordinating council of Guyanese based in the US, UK, Canada, the Caribbean, and Guyana. Funding support is by well-known philanthropist Dave Narayan from Dave Bastinian Imports. Please welcome my moderator for tonight, Dr. Tara Singh. Our panelists tonight are Dr. Vishnu Bisram and Dr. Sanjay Ramkisoon. Our guest tonight is the Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. Please welcome the Honorable Suzanne Rodriguez. Good evening and welcome, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Okay. Once again, we welcome the Minister of Tourism, Trade and Commerce. My voice is down. It's the aftermath of the flu, so I will speak very little. Honorable Minister, we thank you very much. We know you're very busy, and I believe that tomorrow you have a big event. I think it's some street food function you're having will last a couple of days as part of the tourism product. But before you talk about that, can you just give us an insight into the flow of tourists into Guyana over the past couple of months? Has it slowed down? Has it accelerated? Or it's stable or what?
So, good evening to everyone on the panel here this evening, and good evening to all of the viewers and listeners who are joining us. It's a pleasure to be back on the Guyana Dialogue. I believe this is the first time I'm on the program in this new portfolio as Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. So it is indeed a pleasure to be able to share some updates with the panel and everybody who's watching, especially from the diaspora. We've had an exciting about 8 months. I think it is about now, and we have seen visitor arrival increase month after month. You may recall that at the end of 2025, we made the announcement, actually early in January of this year, we made the announcement that Guyana received the highest visitor arrival on record for the year 2025. And that amount was 453,489 visitors. So that's the highest amount of visitors ever recorded in a calendar year. And we're very pleased about that progress. We're also very pleased that Destination Guyana continues to prove its resilience. You know that during the COVID-19 pandemic, travel came to a standstill, and there are many economies around the world that were unraveling because of the depression in travel and in the decline in the tourism industry. Those economies who depend heavily on tourism and travel to engineer growth. Guyana's economy has bounced back. We have shown our resilience, and we are now recording the highest ever visitor arrivals. And every year it is increasing. As a matter of fact, it seems to be increasing every month. So only today I made an announcement that the March figures for 2026 are in, and March 2026 increased by 13.3% over March 2025. So we welcome 39,484 visitors in the month of March. So people are traveling. People do believe in Destination Guyana. I don't think we're an emerging destination anymore. I think we are firmly established in the international community and the global stage as a destination that offers authentic experiences. And in the coming days and weeks, with the calendar of events that we have unfolding, people will really get to experience Guyana's culture and heritage. And that is something that we promote as our Guyana's authentic experience. So we're very excited with the way things are looking in the tourism sector, tourism and hospitality, especially as we go forward to build on the progress that we've achieved so far.
Thank you, Dr. Fish.
Yeah, if the economist is seeking some clarification. You are now referring to official arrivals. Am I correct? Not at the airports and at public.
All of the ports of entry. So the Chalijagan International Airport, Ogle, Lethem, and Molson Creek. So the four
Right.
major ports of entry.
And just for clarification, because many people may not be familiar, Lethem does have a port of entry as well.
Yes, of course. Yes.
No, you can proceed.
And Molson Creek.
And Molson Creek, yeah, Crabwood Creek area. You're right. Yeah, but that's a stunning set of numbers. And just for further clarification, these would be arrivals. For us to have like a net a number, we would have to subtract the departures because we don't know how many people went out as well.
Yes, but there's a difference between passengers and visitors.
And so, okay, and so that the government does maintain the difference between the two. Okay.
Be a Guyanese resident who's and coming back, that number exceeded 1 million for 2025. So when we speak about visitor arrivals and we give the number for visitor arrivals, it's not the same as passengers. A visitor is somebody who's not between a visitor.
Good.
And by 2030, the president has given us a mandate to ensure that, that our economy has about 3 million passengers passing through. And so by deduction, we were able to maybe target 1 million visitors by 2030 with 3 million passengers.
Well, great numbers. Yeah. Tara?
Point.
Dr. Sanjay?
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. Once again, it's a pleasure for me to be on this panel. Good evening, Ms. Minister Susan Rodriguez. It's always a pleasure to be here. It's very refreshing to me to hear all the good numbers of people trying to visit Guyana. For sure, Guyana tourism is strong and it's on an upward trajectory with all the recorded arrivals and the new visitors, all the new infrastructure. I was very impressed my last visit to Guyana. When I got there, I was able to scan my passport and walk through. And it was such a good thing. And definitely the infrastructure is helping. I think with a sustainable, driven vision in the future, the goals that you're discussing in 2030 will be something that's going to be very easily attained, especially with you at the helm there, leading us all. So kudos to you. I think you and your team, your ministry is doing an excellent job. And thank you very much for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. You see, the thing with tourism is ensuring that there's visibility to the destination, ensuring that we invest in infrastructure. I really thank you for mentioning the Chalijagan International Airport because, as you know, we've made a lot of investment in the rehabilitation of that airport, and we are expanding now. We're building a new terminal for arrivals. I believe the president has already released on his Facebook page some rendering of what that new terminal will look like. So when passengers and visitors come to Guyana, as they walk through the airport, they'll be able to kind of see a piece of Guyana. And so it's being built in a way that celebrates our nature and our conservation efforts. So it really will be a sight to behold. The Chedijegan International Airport was also recognized recently as the premier aviation hub in the Caribbean, ranking #1 for overall passenger experience and satisfaction. So it shows that the infrastructure upgrades are working. We've been working with CJIA on training of staff. We know that there's a lot more improvements that we have to continuously work on, and the work is never done. You always have to build on that progress, build on the infrastructure, build on improving passenger experience, and that work continues on a daily basis. For people who are not, well traveled, especially around the Caribbean, it's difficult for them to draw comparisons. Our transformation has been so rapid here in Guyana that we've really surpassed the experience in many of our Caribbean neighbors. There are some countries, some tourist destinations that we fly to around the Caribbean that still don't have air bridges. You still have to walk across the tarmac to get into the airport. And we came from that place, but we made the investment in the airport experience. We made the investment in our country to ensure that when people arrive here, that the first impression is a good one and a lasting impression. And so we continue to work with the airport authorities, work with immigration to ensure that that we can process passengers as seamlessly as possible, give them a good experience, and then welcome them into the country so that, again, they can have a taste of Guyana. Dr. Taro mentioned I have an event tomorrow. It's called Taste of Guyana. It's being held on Main Street, where we're going to be having a lot of local cuisine. So we're celebrating our local food culture. Food is big in Guyana. I don't have to tell all of you here. We all know. And I love that Guyanese are finding a new appreciation for our local dishes. I see people now thinking about what they eat and being appreciative of our local cuisine, indulging in our pepper pot, our curries, our cook-up rice, our garlic pork, from all of the contributions of the different ethnic groups who came to Guyana and worked over the decades to develop this country. And it's a rich cultural heritage that we have, and it's one that we should be proud of, one that we should value, and one that is marketable to the world. And people come to Guyana because Guyana is an authentic destination. While we try to increase our visitor arrival numbers and we try to grow the tourism industry, the president has been very cautious in saying that we must develop tourism and be mindful of our environment at the same time, and that these two are not competing concepts, because our tourism efforts actually was birthed out of our conservation efforts. And so Guyana will never be a country that would subscribe to mass tourism. It will remain an authentic destination in which we preserve our rainforests, we preserve our protected areas, we take care of our heritage sites, our natural waterfalls, we preserve our indigenous culture. And these are things that preserve and protect our indigenous culture and all of our local culture. And this is something that we can market to the world. And it's really the reason why people come here. So it gives us a unique opportunity to market our natural resources, to market our people and our history and culture.
If I can ask a follow-up question.
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Rodriguez, can you tell us about the new airline that's coming to Guyana and their effects on the local economy?
Yes, so there's been significant expansion in airline connectivity, especially over the last 6 years. We're in 2026 now. We've seen 12 new airlines coming to Guyana since that time, including British Airways, KLM Royal Dutch Airlines, and Air Transat that comes from Canada. So we're trying to expand our airlift capacity because this, of course, helps to bring more visitors to Guyana, opening up new destinations and opening up new markets for visitors and for trade. So this is an area where we're surpassing some of our Caribbean neighbors as well, and people are noticing the expansion in airlift capacity here in Guyana. We have flights coming not only from New York and Miami, like most of our neighboring countries, but we also have flights from Houston, and we have a number of Latin American countries. We have Dominican Republic and Colombia that we fly. We have airlines that go directly to those destinations. So we're seeing an increased number of visitors from our Spanish neighbors, as well as our Caribbean neighbors. Our largest market remains the US market. And a lot of that is our diaspora. A lot of it's second generation Guyanese, but in many cases, I'm seeing third generation Guyanese who are coming. I've met tons of young people, especially over the last few months, who were born in the United States. Their grandparents, so in many cases, second generation, their parents, but the third generation I still refer to them as Guyanese, Guyanese being born overseas, they are even more curious about Guyana, the third generation, because they're interested in where their grandparents came from, and they're interested in discovering, where their parents and grandparents grew up, and to discover that. So it's always a joy to run into that type of a visitor who's coming to Guyana to trace their roots, and that's always very interesting. It's an interesting story for them to tell, and all of these people have networks of their own, and so it helps to spread the word about Guyana, because there's nothing like word of mouth to market a destination, and so the U.S. market remains our largest market, but that is closely followed by the Caribbean market. So we're getting a lot of visitors from around the Caribbean, people who are finding connectivity easier and traveling to Guyana because they're curious to see how this destination, how this country has grown, and the improvements that we're making, especially over the last 5 years. Of course, everybody has heard about this new country that is now producing oil and gas, and everybody wants to follow the story. They want to follow the success story about how Guyana is going to use its resources to develop our country and to improve the lives of our citizens.
They're excited about the harbor bridge as well, the new Jack Dill Bridge.
Yeah, and that's I can tell you that's one of the iconic pieces now, and one of the iconic locations to visit. So we've had the Demerara Sunset Tour. It's one of our most popular tours. You can go down to the Stabroek Market there every afternoon. There are tour operators who take visitors out on the river, and now they can stop and marvel at the Barjagbio River Bridge as one of the stops on the tours. So this just goes to show how investment in infrastructure can have benefits that you cannot even imagine. Because when we built that bridge, of course, the main arguments for that bridge was to improve connectivity, to have a fixed structure, to ease traffic congestion, to improve the lives of people who live in Region 3, to increase trade between Region 3 and Region 4. And then now we have a stop on the iconic Sunset River Tour. So, just one of the many, many benefits that improvement and investment in infrastructure can have on an economy and on small businesses.
Vish,
Yeah, if I may, speaking about iconic stops and places, I mean, we have 63 Beach, and of course we have the Kaichor Falls. I, being a Barbadian, I really would like to see something being done about 63 Beach, and I know you have that as part of your program. The president also spoke about it. You spoke about it. What's the plan for 63 Beach?
Well, there's been a lot of improvement on 63 Beach. This project is being led through the Office of the First Lady. So the First Lady herself is leading the project at number 63 Beach. There's been many updates provided to the public on the work that has been done there so far in improving the area generally, and also in creating spaces for families and for businesses. Because for any area to be upkept, any park or any area to be upkept commercially, it has to sustain itself. And so there's been significant improvement with access to the beach, as well as on the beach itself. And there's been a lot of construction of areas for families to enjoy and for businesses. So similar to the enhancement that we saw at the seawall, at the Esplanade, it's a similar type of development that continues to unfold at 63 Beach. It's not completed as yet. It's an ongoing project, but there's been some significant improvement there at 63 Beach.
And I was lucky and fortunate to visit Kaichor Falls. It's not easy to get there. There are not regular flights. Is anything being planned to make it like regular so that Guyanese, even the diaspora, can experience it?
So we have flights almost every day now to Kaichor Falls. We can take a maximum of 100 people to Kaichor every single day. One of the challenges in the past has been the runway, and there's been significant improvement to the airstrip at Kaichor Falls, as well as the parking apron. I'm not sure if you were following the progress, but the Minister of Public Utilities and Aviation did put out a lot of photos and so on at Kaichor National Park, where the airstrip was upgraded and the parking apron has been upgraded now for the first time to concrete. All the while before, it was a sanded area, so if we have had heavy rainfall, the planes would not be able to park there. In many cases, they became stuck, so it was unsafe to fly regularly. But now that has been upgraded and we have flights going into Kaichor every single day. It remains our most popular location in the country for visitors, and we're very proud. It's the gem of our tourism product, and more visitors are going to see Kaichor, and more Guyanese are going to visit Kaichor for the first time. One of the other challenges in the past has been the limited airplanes that are available to go to Kaichor, and a number of our local airline operators have really stepped up, and they have invested in expanding their fleet. And so we have more planes available now to visit Kaichor, and therefore we have scheduled flights almost every day going to that location.
Good. Sanjay?
Okay. Let me take you back. Do you have a brochure listing the various tourism products available right now?
So there are dozens and dozens of products that are available. We have been working with communities all across Guyana. And it's not just the locations, but our tour operators have really been active in creating new experiences. So, in many cases, it's not only about seeing different parts of the country, but about experiencing the destination itself. One of the emerging popular tours uh, has been a city tour in the city of Georgetown, a city and food tour. So visitors and even Guyanese are going on these city tours and food tours, visiting the markets, experiencing what it's like to try some of our local authentic cuisine from the vendors there, trying some of our fresh fruits and vegetables, and going to the different locations around the city and learning about the history of Georgetown, learning about the significance of the historical buildings that we pass every single day, but we don't know what the story is behind these buildings. When you go on a guided tour of the city with an experienced, trained tour guide, you get to understand why some of these buildings are here, what is the history behind these buildings. You get to understand why some streets are named what they're named, and who they're named after. And so it's a completely different experience, and that goes throughout the country. So since 2020, we have launched about 65 new products, and that work continues to evolve. And we continue also to work with our indigenous communities to expand our community owned and led tourism product. And that is something that really makes Guyana a truly unique destination. It makes us different from any other location, any other part of the world. Is that many of the communities that are involved in tourism, their tourism product is owned and led by the community. And that is an example. It's exemplary of our tourism product, and it sets us apart from our competitors. As a matter of fact, Toka Village in Region 9 was recently awarded a leader in community-based sustainable tourism. The Caribbean Tourism Organization recognized Toka Village as one of the leading community-based tourism destinations, and they received that award just a couple of weeks ago. So for this year, 2026. So we're getting regional recognition. We're getting international recognition. I'm sure you may have seen a number of international accolades and recognition being given to Guyana. So TOCA, like I mentioned, is one of them, the Community-Based Tourism Award for 2026. We've had Karanambu Lodge, which is also in the Rupununi, being awarded the Good Travel Seal Level 3 Platinum Certificate. This is for commitment to fair and responsible tourism, protecting Rupununi wildlife, and supporting local communities. We've had Irokrama International Center for Rainforest Conservation and Development being recognized among Travel and Tourist 50 best ecotourism destinations in the world for 2026. And of course, we've had Guyana being featured in leading international publications such as Bloomberg, Time Magazine, and the New York Times. We're being recognized for our sustainable tourism model and our community-led tourism development. And even some of our private operators. Delvin Adams from the Backyard Cafe was recently recognized by Times Magazine as one of the best places to visit in 2026. And so that makes us extremely proud of him and his achievements, and proud of what we have here to offer in Guyana.
All right, thank you, Shamiza.
Yeah,
I think.
Dr. Tara, I will ask a question and then we will take a break.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Minister Rodriguez, your previous position in the Ministry of Housing was very challenging, but you played an important role. You did an amazing job in that position, just as you're doing in this position currently. As we look at your ministry right now, Guyana is known for ecotourism. How is the ministry protecting places like Kaichor Falls, which we spoke about a lot tonight, while increasing visitors?
So thank you very much, Shamiza, for that question. I alluded to it earlier. The president has given us a clear mandate, and he has said that Guyana must be a leading sustainable tourism destination. So he did not leave out the word sustainable. And he's been very deliberate in ensuring that Guyana's tourism industry evolves in a way that is very conscious of our environment. I'm sure you know that the president was a former minister of tourism, industry, and commerce, and he was a former minister of housing and water. So I am extremely privileged to be walking in his footsteps. It also really puts me in the hot seat because the boss knows, how to run these two ministries, and it's very, it's very hard to try to outdo him, because when I look at the legacy that he left behind, it's truly remarkable. Like sometimes, every time I think about an idea, President Ali did it already at some point in the past. So he is really a pioneer, and I'm really proud that he is our president today, because I believe that the portfolios that he has held in the past has really prepared him. And he's a type of person that is just extremely hardworking, and he's always trying to outdo himself and always trying to do better, because I believe he genuinely cares about people and he cares about the environment. He has launched the Global Biodiversity Alliance, and he's really taken leadership on biodiversity and the environment, and he continues to travel the world, to travel the globe, talking about Guyana's conservation efforts and the preservation of our rainforests. He does this on many global platforms, including at the different COPs every single year. So coming from that background and being mindful of those principles that the president has, even while we try to increase our tourism industry or grow the tourism industry, we are very acutely aware that we have to do this hand in hand with our conservation efforts. There are many people who go to Kaichor National Park, for example, and they wonder, why don't we expand the accommodation there, or maybe open a restaurant or something there. And that's very easy to say, number one, but Kaichor remains a very remote location, so it's a lot of logistics to try to get that done. But more importantly, it is a protected area, and it's not an area where we want to miscalculate and have an investor come in and start to do developmental work there to expand accommodation or open a restaurant or something there that could possibly erode our conservation efforts there. So we're being very deliberate and careful about how we expand or increase visitor arrivals to Kaichor and to other areas, and doing it in a way that is very conscious that we need to protect the environment at all costs. So any future investment, whether it be in Kaichor or any of our protected areas, we will first of all carefully consider it, the invasiveness of that investment, and ensure that it is properly considered before we do that. And so hence I said we would never become a country where we invite mass tourism. We'd never be a country that can welcome a cruise ship here carrying 6,000 passengers. So we are working to grow our cruise tourism industry, but we're working to grow the expedition cruises. So low volume, high value cruises that can carry maybe 150 passengers to 300 passengers. And we can comfortably welcome one of these boutique expedition cruises here in Guyana. We've seen 2 arrive in the last 6 months. And, they bring passengers mostly from Europe, but passengers who are looking for an authentic experience, not passengers who are looking for sand and beach, but passengers and travelers who are looking for experiential tourism, who are looking to learn from a destination. They're looking to learn the destination's history, to experience the culture and the food, the natural environment, and our wildlife. And these are elements of our tourism product that are just uncompromising. We will never compromise these natural assets that we have to try to increase tourism. So we are building on our conservation efforts and building in the same or on the same path to being ensured that Guyana becomes a leading sustainable tourism destination.
Very well said. Thank you for that answer. We'll be right back. Dr. Tara, please go ahead.
Yeah. Honorable Minister, do you think there is enough hotel rooms available now to accommodate tourists, visitors to Guyana?
So I'm very glad that you asked that question. So we've seen a number of new hotel investments, especially over the last 5 years. We've had 9 new major hotel brands open since the People's Progressive Party Civic returned to government in 2020. We've had the Pegasus Suites, Aden by Best Western, Royal International Hotel, the King's Plaza Hotel, Courtyard by Marriott, the AC Marriott, 4 Points by Sheraton. So these are just some of the major brands that have opened here in Guyana. And this signals the confidence in Guyana's economy. Of course, any Marriott, and we have 4 Marriott branded hotels now. So any Marriott or Marriott sister companies, because Sheraton also comes under the Marriott brand, they are very serious about their investment. They do their feasibility studies and so on. So when they decide to enter a market, it is guaranteed that they have already studied this market and they know that Guyana has the potential to really grow and to sustain their investment. So that is a clear demonstration of confidence in our local economy, in our economic policies. And I always point in that direction when I tell people about how well Guyana's economy is doing, and it's not just about Guyana being the fastest growing economy in the world, but when you look at the investments, foreign investment or foreign investors who are investing in Guyana and who want to invest in Guyana, that is a clear indication that Guyana is doing the right thing, that the government is making the right decisions, and that people have confidence in the economy. When these investments take place, when we build a hotel, we're creating hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs within the hotel industry. With the last hotel opening I was at was the Four Points by Sheraton, and the general manager was very clear to say that all of the people who are working at the Sheraton Hotel has never worked in the hotel industry before. So these are Guyanese that are finding new careers and are receiving world-class training and being able to find not only a job in the tourism industry, but can find a career path in the tourism industry. And expanding accommodation is a huge part of ensuring that a destination, that our destination becomes globally recognized. When people are looking for some place to go to visit that they've never been before, it always helps to lift the standard of the country when you have international branded hotels in that destination. And that's why those hotels are very important to Guyana's tourism sector. We're also constructing the Tourism and Hospitality Institute in Region 6. And this is going to be like one of our flagship projects, because this is where our young people can really train and find careers, lifelong careers in the tourism and hospitality sectors. So the goal really is to ensure that we can train Guyanese to international standards, that we can professionalize the sector, and that we can improve service quality and consistency across the industry. And this would really help to elevate Destination Guyana. So we're very excited about the investment in the hotel industry, and we're very, very excited about the Tourism and Hospitality Institute that is under construction and will be completed and open this year.
Yeah, I think that based on the budget, the government has projected 5,600 rooms by the end of 2020. Is in contrast to the rooms available in 2020. It was about 3,300 rooms. So there's a vast improvement there. Dr. Sanjay?
And
thank
we
you.
still have two major hotels that are under construction. We have the Pasha Global, which has I think it's about 350 rooms, and the Hyatt Hotel that is nearing completion as well. And apart from these two major brands, we have about 13 additional hotels that are under construction across the country. So locals as well, Guyanese who are investing in building hotels in other regions of the country. So in region 6, for example, in region 3. So the hotel accommodation is expanding in every region in the country. And also we have Guyanese who are investing in Airbnbs, so the bed and breakfast accommodations. Some of them are transforming their homes into bed and breakfast, or maybe they have other properties that they are investing in to open bed and breakfast accommodations, and that is auguring very well in the industry, because in the past when we had cricket, every room was taken. If you didn't book a year in advance, you couldn't come to cricket. Now you can comfortably book your flight for the Guyana Super League the Caribbean Premier League, all of which will be held again this year. Of course, in some areas of the country, like Region 9, accommodation is still a challenge. So we just came out of a very successful rodeo event. It was the largest rodeo we've ever seen. We elevated that event. We supported the rodeo committee tremendously to ensure that we elevate that event, bring enough visibility and improvement in the infrastructure and accommodation at the venue for those who want to experience Guyana's ranching culture and the sport of rodeo. But accommodation remains a constraint in Region 9 for people who want to visit rodeo. And that's why we published the expression of interest for investments in eco lodges and resorts, because there are parts of the country where we still have to do work on expanding accommodation. So this is an opportunity for Guyanese. It's not only for international investors, for Guyanese who want to invest in an eco lodge or invest in some type of accommodation in these different regions, in Region 8, Region 9, Region 7, for example, where there is a market for expanded accommodation. So it's really exciting times ahead for all parts of Guyana.
All right, Dr. Sanjay.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Tara. Excellent work there, Minister Rodriguez. I'm impressed. I'm truly impressed. I have a quick question, though.
Sure.
As you see it today, what are the biggest infrastructure gaps still existing that's impeding the growth within your ministry?
So one of the things that, but I actually just alluded to one of them, and that is the gap that exists in accommodation in certain parts of the country, especially the remote locations. Like, for example, we have some beautiful waterfalls in Region 8, and people can go and visit on a day tour, but they won't be able to stay there because there's no accommodation. So they'd have to travel and return, or they'd have to camp. And we do have visitors who like that type of adventure, who actually want to camp out. But the other significant constraint at this time remains our infrastructure. So the road network to link all of these different communities. We have made significant progress in the last 5 years. You know that the Linden to Mabura Hill Road is under construction. And that is an important link on the way to Lethem. And so we are looking forward very much in tourism, looking forward for that road going all the way to Lethem, because that would really ease the burden on people who fly to Georgetown or who are in Georgetown or other parts in Region 6 and 3, for example, who want to go to the Rupununi but don't want to fly because it is a little expensive to fly to the Rupununi. So if they can go by road, it becomes significantly cheaper for them to experience what the Rupununi is like and to experience other parts of Guyana. It will also improve trade significantly with Brazil. So getting that road done and built all the way to Lethem is extremely important for opening up the tourism sector as well as trade between Guyana, Lethem, and Brazil.
It's amazing. And how is it that there are many young people graduating high school, and I know you were setting up this hospitality school, quote unquote hospitality school.
Yeah.
But I think, during high school, we can even add to our curriculum a hospitality class somewhere along the training in high school.
Yeah, you're right. And I launched a campaign very early after taking up this portfolio. The tourism is everybody's business. And the point of this campaign is to change societal attitudes towards tourism and toward visitors in our country. For a long time, we've relied on our extractive industries. This is the backbone of our economy, our agricultural sector, mining sector, fishing, and now we have the oil and gas sector. And because of oil and gas, um, people are more interested now in Guyana. People are looking toward Guyana. So it has certainly helped to put Guyana on the world stage. But while we're doing all of these things, we also want to build out our service sector. And this is where the tourism and hospitality sector plays a major role. And so it is one of my mission to ensure that people are more aware that tourism can touch the lives of every single Guyanese, even if you don't operate within the industry. If you come into contact with a visitor, you can either ensure that that visitor has an extremely positive experience based on your interaction with that person, or they can have a very negative or bad experience based on our attitude towards our visitors. So we want Guyana to be an extremely welcoming place. We want people, ordinary Guyanese, to be aware of the fact that there are visitors walking the streets with us. They're not always Caucasian, and so it's very hard to spot a visitor because they look just like you and me. And like I mentioned before, we have a lot of Caribbean visitors here. They look just like us, they sound like us, and so you don't have to identify them as a visitor to be kind. We just all generally need to be kinder to one another. We need to ensure that our interaction with folks are reflective of the principles and values with which we all grew up with. So, our customer service has to be improved. And that is regardless of whether we're talking about the tourism and hospitality sector or if we're talking about the healthcare sector. Because even if people go to the hospitals here to access healthcare, the quality of the service delivery has to improve. And that I know that they're constantly working on that. And President Ali has been stressing that. That's why we've also been expanding government services to all the other regions and opening offices in different regions across the country where people can come and access government service in their communities. Because we do want, as a country, to become more service oriented. This is new. This is new for Guyana. Investing in the service sector and trying to grow and elevate the service sector. So we have to be more mindful of it. We have to be more aware. All Guyanese have to be more aware. And I agree with you. This can start as early as in high school or university. And I'm always intrigued by young people who meet me and say that they're studying for their degree in tourism. I'm happy that people are interested in tourism because these are the future leaders in the tourism industry. And the education in the tourism sector can start as early as in high school, because other countries are doing it. Those countries that rely heavily on tourism for the sustainability of their economy. And so we have to make those similar changes.
All right. I think we have come to the end of our session, but I believe our host has a few questions. Shamiza, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Tara. So, since we're on the topic of our youth, technology and social media, I think, is equally as important, right? Because you know how our youths are involved in technology and social media. So, how is social media and technology changing the way Guyana markets itself to the world?
So social media is not something that we can run away from in today's world. It can be a scary place, especially for our adolescents and young teenagers, but it can really help to market any business or any destination. So we've been using social media to expand our reach, to reach people all across the globe, and that has been instrumental in ensuring that we bring that visibility to Guyana. So that's one aspect. Um, we've also been ensuring that we raise the level of the destination, investing in events so that people travel for that purpose. We have our 60th independence anniversary coming up in a couple of weeks, and I know that a lot of people in the diaspora are interested in coming back home. As a matter of fact, we're calling it the homecoming. Because we want people to come back home and to celebrate our independence with us. But artificial intelligence or AI and social media could never replace customer service. So many people ask, how is AI going to change the tourism industry? We have every intention of ensuring that we can leverage AI to improve the service delivery in terms of booking a destination and curating itineraries. So we can reach people using technology and help them to seamlessly book their flight, book their accommodation, and view and possibly interact with tour operators so that they can curate an itinerary. But once you get to that destination, it's all about the human experience. It's all about ensuring that it's an immersive experience, and customer service has a huge part to play with that. So technology can never replace that human element that tourism offers. So we will have to invest in improving our service sector. We have to invest in capacity building. We have to continue to train people. We've trained thousands of people, over 8,500 people in the last 5 years, training people in customer service, in financial management and planning, in CPR, and a whole host of other tourism and hospitality related fields in food handling and mixology, all of these things, because there is that human element, and technology will never replace that.
Agreed. We have a few questions from our viewers. This question, Suzanne Rodriguez, with the incredible increase in visitor arrivals and the Diamond Jubilee celebrations approaching, how is the ministry ensuring that the benefits of this aggressive expansion reach small community-led tourism operators and local artisans in the hinterland regions?
That's a great question, and that is, the whole point of why we're doing what we're doing. The whole point of growing the service sector and the tourism industry is to have people visit our country and to have them spend in our economy so that we can create jobs and create experiences that create value for money. The biggest beneficiaries of the tourism sector are small and medium-sized enterprises. It is the transportation providers. It is the food vendors. It is the artisans and the artists that you just mentioned. Those who are making the local arts and crafts for sale. It is those people who are benefiting enormously from the tourism sector. And our indigenous communities is central to Guyana's tourism product. As a matter of fact, whenever Guyana is at any exposition internationally, our indigenous culture is takes center stage because we can speak about what sets us apart from all of our competitors, and that is our indigenous culture and our community-owned and led sustainable tourism product. In many cases, there are communities in our hinterland who rely solely on tourism for their sustainability. It creates jobs for the entire communities, for the entire community. And so it is who they are. And that is why the structural build out and preservation of Guyana's orange economy, which the president is speaking about, will help us to structure Guyana's creative sector so that we can protect our arts and our culture and our craft and our dance and our food and our film industry, protect all of these, create new industries for people to invest in and make money. So this entire expansion in the tourism and hospitality sector is geared towards ensuring that communities in our hinterland and small and medium-sized enterprises all across Guyana, that they benefit from the investment we're making in tourism.
Oh, beautifully said. Thank you. I will now ask for your closing remarks.
So it's been a really great pleasure speaking to you this evening. I don't know if you noticed, but we spoke 1 hour about tourism. I have 3 portfolios. It's tourism, industry, and commerce, and so there is so much more that we can talk about in terms of our industrial development and how we're investing in small businesses through the Small Business Bureau and the support that we're giving to SMEs all across the country, the upcoming establishment of the Guyana Development Bank that will be offering loans, interest-free, collateral-free loan to Guyanese for up to $3 million with the possibility of accessing an additional $7 million at preferential rates. So really giving young entrepreneurs an opportunity to start a business or to expand their existing businesses. So that is something that's going to be really transformational in the business sector and for young entrepreneurs. So the work that we're doing in the Small Business Bureau and the establishment of the Guyana Development Bank, we're also expanding and ensuring that we attract trade and we work with our small businesses to ensure that their products are export ready. So, touching also again on our commerce side. So it's really an expansive portfolio. It's a large ministry. There's a lot of agencies under the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, including also the Guyana National Bureau of Standards. And they play a huge part in standardization and offering different standards, hundreds of different standards for different industries that can help to give small businesses certification in different fields. So really impactful work and the type of work that can really help to transform Guyana's economy. We're also working on the national tourism policy. So that's something that we recently announced. We're working with the Tony Blair Institute to launch the national tourism policy, which will establish a strategic framework to guide governance, investment, and the development of the industry. So these are really important steps that we're taking to ensure that we build out the tourism industry in a structured and strategic way that will see lasting benefits to all communities across Guyana, especially our indigenous communities. So I've said a lot. I'm sure we've exceeded the time. I thank you for giving me this platform, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Dr. Tara. I know sometimes our schedule doesn't mesh immediately, but I try to make every effort to appear on the Guyana Dialogue. You've been kind to me. Thank you for this platform, and I want to take this opportunity also to invite all Guyanese in the diaspora all across the world to come home for the 60th, be a part of Guyana's 60th independence anniversary. And even if you don't make it to Guyana in May, there are so many other events coming up. In July, for example, we have the Origins Fashion Festival. We have the One Guyana Worship Experience. We're bringing international recording artists, gospel artists that will be performing on July 6th. So lots of events. We have cricket coming up. We have tons of things happening throughout the year. A number of conferences also taking place in Guyana. And Guyana will just be a very, very busy place for the months and years ahead. But exciting times, and it's really exciting now to be young and to be Guyanese.
I'm sure it is. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I'm sure Dr. Tara will be able to coordinate another time for you to be on the program. I do want to congratulate our team here at the Guyana Dialogue. It has been 4 amazing years, Dr. Tara. We've been there. I also want to say to our guy that you guys don't get to see, our tech guy, thank you so much for being here every Thursday. He hasn't been sick one Thursday for 4 years. So thank you guys.
That's
And
impressive.
all of our viewers who make this possible. Minister Rodriguez, you've always been a special guest on our program. Thank you so much. Until next time, I am your host, Shamiza Ali, and this is the Guyana Dialogue. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.